Good morning, dear students. In the last class, I have taught you about predicate logic, the syntax and semantics of predicate logic, how to frame the predicate logic sentences, and I have also taught you about the semantics, that is meaning for each and every terms that we used in syntax. Okay? In today's class, I am going to teach you about the knowledge engineering process. So, if you want to feed a sentence into the knowledge base of a particular system, so what are the steps that has to be followed? So, there are 7 steps that is involved in knowledge engineering process that I am going to teach you in today's class. So, let us see the steps that involved in knowledge engineering. So, the first step that is involved in knowledge engineering process is identify the task. So, first you have to determine the task, what information you are going to store in the knowledge base. For example, if you are going to store the information about our college, so that is the task. The task is to store the information regarding our college. Okay, so that first we have to determine what is the task that you have to determine first. Second, you have to assemble the relevant knowledge from the help of or with the help of the expert. Second task is assemble relevant knowledge. So, actually there will be some certain experts who have already designed an information system about our college. So, rather than studying newly information about our college, if you just interact with an expert who have already done this work, you can gather more useful information. So, second step is you are assembling the relevant knowledge with the help of an expert who have already gathered the information in that same domain. So, this is step 2. So, step 1 is identify the task, you are setting the goal. So, in what area you are going to work on. Second, you are gathering more relevant information by interacting with the expert who have already done the work in that particular domain. 3, you are deciding on the vocabularies. So, already I have taught you in the previous class about the terms like constant, what is the variable, what is the predicate, what is the function, so what are the quantifiers we are using. So, I have already taught you all those things in the previous class. So, after gathering the knowledge with the help of the expert, relevant information, after gathering it, you are deciding what are all the constants that are present in that particular knowledge base. So, you have deciding like if it is college, you will be having principal, you are having HODs, you are having faculties. So, all those things you are it comes under relationship. So, if you see those things you are adding it as predicates. So, if you are using quantifiers, you are just noting all those things out. So, you are deciding what are all the predicates we are having. The name of the faculty comes under constants. Okay. So, like this you are determining what are the functions we have, what are the predicates we have, what are the constant we are using in that knowledge which we have gathered. The fourth step is encode knowledge about the domain, that is after determining the predicate, functions and constant, you are once again checking with the expert whatever you have determined whether it is correct or not. So, you are going to the expert twice. Once before determining the predicate, constant and function, you are gathering the information from the expert. Then you are writing down the predicate, function and constant. After writing down, you are once again going to the expert and you are checking whether the constants, predicate, functions which you have written are correct. So, twice you are doing the check with the experts. So, after that you are encoding the sentence, that is atomic sentence. You are writing once the predicate, logic, constant, everything is checked with the expert, you are framing the atomic sentence. After framing the atomic sentence, you are posing queries, you are asking question to the knowledge base and you are checking whether it is able to give the correct answer. So, you are posting queries and you are getting the answer and you are checking if the answer is correct. Suppose if the answer is wrong, it is not working to your expectation, you have to finally debug the knowledge base. Okay? So, you will be getting the feedback from the system and you will be keeping on debugging the knowledge base till your expectation is reached. Okay? So, these are the 7 steps. First, identify the task. Second, you are gathering more information with the help of expert. Third, you are determining what are the predicate, constant, functions that are to be made in the sentence. Then you are checking whether all those things which you have determined like predicate, functions are correct with the help of expert. then you are framing the atomic sentence. Once the atomic sentence is framed, you are asking question, posing queries, and you are getting the answer. Then you are checking whether the answer is correct. If the answer is wrong, you are going to debug the knowledge base. Okay, so this is the 7 steps that is involved to frame a sentence or store a sentence in the knowledge using this knowledge engineering process. Okay, so it's a very important 8-mark question that is asked many times in the university. So next I would like to teach you how unification can be done. So it is a kind of inference method. There are different inference methods like unification, then we have forward chaining, backward chaining, resolution, then INF, CNF. There are different inference methods which is used to derive or determine certain answers. Okay, so if you want to find whether John likes ice cream, using this inference method, you can search into the database and you can find whether he likes or not. So that is what we call it as inference method. Whether I like ice cream, so if I want to check, I have to look into my database. I have to infer all the sentences which is stored in my knowledge base, and then I have to determine using some logic whether I like it or not. Okay, so that is how it goes. So now I am going to teach you in this class about unification, a kind of inference. You would have already studied a formula in discrete mathematics, namely named as Mordan-Sponnon rule. That is like alpha tends to beta alpha. If it is of this form, alpha tends to beta comma alpha, then you can write the answer as alpha. Okay, alpha tends to beta alpha can be written as alpha. So this actually a concept, Mordan-Sponnon is used in this unification process. So it's very simple. I have some example here, just check it out. So if you want to read this, actually there are 2 sentences. These 2 sentences are unified using unified tag. Okay, there are 2 sentences which are unified using a unified tag. So if you see here, John knows X. We don't know who the X is in this first sentence. John knows X. In the second sentence, we have like John knows Jane. So first sentence says that John knows X. We don't know who the X is. Second sentence tells us like John knows Jane. So now you are combining these 2 sentences together using unification, and in the place of X what we have? Jane. So this place you have John, in both the term it is similar, whereas in the place of X here you have Jane. So what is X? X is inferred as Jane. So this is called as unification. You are combining 2 sentences and you are going to infer what X is or what Y is. Okay. So you are going to give me the answer for the second sentence. I have a sentence like John knows X. Okay. John is saying here, John knows X. Here we have a sentence like Y knows Leo. Okay. Here John knows X. The second sentence, Y knows Leo. Okay. So now we have 2 variables. One is X and another one is Y. So what X stands for now? Here in the place of X, what we have? Leo. So X stands for Leo. In the place of Y, what we have here? Here a Y. Here we have John. So Y stands for John. So we have inferred from these 2 sentences that X is nothing but Leo and Y is nothing but John. Okay. So the third example which I have written here shows a failure case. Y means if you combine these 2 sentences like John knows X and X knows Elizabeth. Here if you see, when you infer these 2 sentences together, you will get the answer as X is Elizabeth and X is also John. Here we have only one variable, that is X, that is used in two sides. So if you see, X is Elizabeth and X is John. A single variable cannot be allotted for 2 constants. Okay. So hence you call this as a failure one. You cannot represent a single variable for 2 constants. Okay. So this is what we call it as unification. You can infer by combining 2 sentences together. So apart from this, if you see in knowledge representation, if you want to store and retrieve the information, normally knowledge base means you have to store an information and you have to retrieve the information. So you can store and retrieve the information with the help of store function as well as fetch function. So this you call it as storage and retrieval mechanism. And for storing the information, if you want to fetch the information very easily, indexing must be done. So there are three kinds of indexing that can be used in knowledge representation. The table based indexing can be used, or tree like indexing can be used, or hashing, using hashing table also you can do a indexing. So three types of indexing can be used while storing the information in the knowledge base. What are they? Table based indexing, tree based indexing, as well as using hash, that you call it as predicate based indexing, that uses hashing table. Okay. Now at the last, I will also like to teach you about subsumption lattice. Okay. So this lattice actually is it is used to represent the content in the form of a tree like structure. So whatever the information you want to retrieve, you can easily fetch that information from the tree. Okay, so that is what we call it as subsumption lattice. So how to write this subsumption lattice? If you see, initially, see, I have 4 sentences here. SSN employs John. Okay, here we have the answer. SSN employs John. Here if you see, X employs John. Here SSN is employed by Y, and here X employs Y. So here we don't have both the information. Here we have X value, here we have Y value, here we have both the values. So this is the thing. So you can represent this as a tree like structure, like employs X comma Y. So here if you see, I don't know both the values. So in the left hand side, what I am writing is, I am writing employs X comma John. So I know only the Y variable here. In the right hand side, I will be writing like employs SSN comma Y. So I know the X value here. At the last, if you see, at the end of the subsumption lattice, you will be getting both the values, employs SSN comma John. Okay. So if you want to know, if you are in this term, like we need to know who employed John. By seeing the diagram, you can deduce that SSN employed John. So if you want to know who is employed by whom, so if it is the question, by seeing the subsumption lattice, you can come to know like SSN employed John. Okay. So it is like a tree like representation by which you can easily retrieve the information what you want. Okay. Subsumption lattice contains the data, entire data in the form of a tree like structure. Okay. So that you call it as subsumption lattice. Okay. So dear students, in today's class, I have taught you the 7 steps that is involved in knowledge engineering process. I have taught you one of the inference method, that is unification. I have taught you subsumption lattice, how that information can be stored. And I have also taught you there are 3 types of indexing, like table, tree, as well as predicate, and the 2 functions that is used to store and retrieve the information, like store and fetch. Okay. So in the next class, I am going to teach you the remaining inference model, like forward chaining, backward chaining, and resolution in the next class. Okay. Thank you.